Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my world of modeling. I'm Dan here in my model railroad room, and it's time to look at the model railroad again. And first and foremost, I want to apologize. I haven't shown any videos or anything out here too much, and that's for a good reason. One, I've just been busy, and I've just been more focused on just trying to get what I have done out here, and I haven't really stopped and done anything else. I did make a video out here about 2 months ago, and what ended up happening was I had some drama with my movie editor, and it decided to stop working. It's decided to stop basically editing and exporting movies to YouTube to upload them. So I ended up making a small video out here when I started doing track work, which is basically what I've just finished, which I'll show in a second. But it stopped, and I couldn't basically export that video, so I ended up having to delete it, and I wasn't able to get a new video in. I ended up recording one, and then my internet went out at my house here for another month, and so I wasn't able to upload anything, and I'm just now getting some videos uploaded. I got an update video I just posted, I got some how-tos coming, and I have this video now too that I just want to go ahead and get out there so you guys are caught up with where I am. Currently it is April 12th. And what we're looking at right now is the progress in the garage, and I want to go ahead and show you guys what I've gotten accomplished, which is pretty cool. I've been able to break my own goals. I was really trying to get the track work and electrical work done basically by June, and so far we're on pretty good track. I'm actually ahead of schedule, and we'll show you guys what I've gotten done. First off, I wanted to show you guys this corner of the room. I got some spare stuff I got to kind of get put away. I got a lot of stuff I got to sort out, get covered up. I'm not sure what to do with these spindles yet. I'm going to just probably have to tuck them in the corner. I got a lot of debris and stuff. I got a lot of tools out here, obviously, because I've been doing a lot of work. Big thing I got done was I installed my shelf, and I'm just started basically moving all my glass insulators out here. I collect antique glass insulators, the road style telegraph insulators, so I got a whole bunch of these. A lot of these are really rare, old colors and stuff, and they're actually worth a little bit of money. I've been collecting these for quite a while, so I have a large collection of these. This is only a small portion of the others, but I got to get a whole bunch more out here to start displaying those. So that's been one project I've been working on, but the project you guys want to see is the actual model railroad, and you guys are going to have to bear with me here because obviously it's under construction and it's quite a mess. But where we're at right now, since the last video, I've gotten all the bench work done. I then went in and installed the cork road bed. I knew the track plan I wanted, and I basically just laid it out. So this section here is the Fostoria East End, like I had said in the last video, which is a long-ass time ago. These are cross-breaching sections, 1 and 2 over there, and then this would be the Cno South Yard in Fostoria, Ohio. So we're going to be talking about this. Basically looking over the bench work. This was all done from scratch. I did it all myself. I built it all from 2x4s and 4x8 sheets of plywood. And it actually was pretty simple, and it really was not that expensive. I think I only paid maybe like $260 for all the lumber for this thing, and I still have lumber left over. Of course, in hindsight, I'm glad I got all the lumber when I did back in like 2019, 2020, because now lumber is just insanely expensive. I know everyone's been bitching about it, but real quickly looking at the actual plywood construction, this is a very simple bolted together modular construction. You have very sturdy bench work. I have 2x4 leg bracing and such. These are all individually joined modules. On the ends here, I have them braced to the wall all the way down, but for the joining sections, I have them leveled and flat, and they're connected with these joining tables, which with 4 bolts removed, I can slide this out, disconnect the track, and have this opened again. It's very very sturdy, very durable, and it worked out pretty well. It's a pretty good attempt at a first try at making bench work. I'm actually surprised with my skills. I learned pretty quick. I just ended up having to get my own tools, and it came out pretty good. So underneath you can see I'm already started the wiring, and we need to get caught up here. So basically what we're looking at now is once I got the plywood done, I then laid down some standard foam board, and then I went in and I knew the radius curves and everything I needed for all this to work. So I started laying in the curve sections first on these corner modules, and then I built my other sections of track around the curve. So I basically put in the curves first, figured out how much room I needed, what kind of a large radius turn I needed. You can see these are pretty large radius curves. The video makes it look very compressed, but these are actually very, very large. You can run auto racks around this. Basically the longest car I have on my motor is an 89-foot auto rack car like this one here. And these run perfectly around this. There's no squealing, there's no friction or contact on it. It's very smooth, even curve outs, even on the tighter curves for the yard sections here. So again, on this side, it's pretty much the same construction. I just did the large turnouts. And if we actually come in underneath here, looking at how I built this. I have this large section is all one piece. I have the joining section. I have an identical piece on this side. They all run between 5 modules on each side, which is about 6 feet long. So you get a good little section of straight track here, as you can see, running down that section. Here in this corner here, we're looking at the Cno Yard. This took a very long time because I had to hand cut each individual piece of flex track for this yard section. These 2 main tracks here, I got the inner and outer main track 1 and 2. This is center siding. In the Bno, or rather the Cno Yard, they have a center siding that goes, it actually starts kind of on the very northern edge of the yard. And I used Pico switches for all my turnouts. There's a total of 20 switches on this model railroad, actually 21. There's 2 of these large turnouts. This is the first one. The second one is back here, which I'll show. This is the yard lead entrance. So there's a turnout here that leads into a 4th yard track, which then there's a switch there, which leads into a 5th yard track. This is the other turnout. So I'm in the process of wiring all these up for DCC. I've been installing and wiring up the feeder wires, which has been a fun process. It's very time consuming, but it's got to get done, and I've just been troubleshooting as I go, trying to find any little shorts or anything like that. And there always is shorts. You just have to kind of find them as you go. I just run a DC locomotive as a power test, and I'll usually find them pretty quick. And if there's any problems, then I might have to add some extra feeders, but so far everything's been working really well. I just run the trains over these, just test them out, and so far so good. It's all been going pretty well. Still staying on this section here, looking at the Cno Yard, since we'll be focusing on this. I've just been working on, you can see again, there's a lot of different switches. I have a little locomotive staging track here. Looking at my shelving, all my shelving is done. I got all my models out here, which I have tons and tons of models. Most of these are empty boxes on this corner, but all of this are loaded boxes, and then I got to get that stack organized and put in here because those are all brand new models, and I still got a bunch of others I got to sort out. Again, excuse the mess here, it's pretty messy. You can see I still got all these yard tracks spaced out. This is the yard entrance, and this is where I'm currently wiring up right now. I've been doing this modular section over here, doing these turnouts, wiring them up with the feeders and everything. You can see I'm just getting those done up. Still got to work on the lighting. You can see it's very, very dim over here, so I'm probably going to do some kind of LED lights. Biggest problem I realized very quickly is I cannot install another one of these shop lights here because I have the garage door opener right here. So I'm going to have to find another solution to get the lighting to work for this corner. Looking at this AC section, I had cut this hole out in the wall and I installed this AC unit. I already have the boards cut. I just got to basically insulate this and then seal that back in and make that permanent. And then I can cover the AC unit, which I have covered up right now for the winter. All that's covered up and it's pretty nice. It actually did pretty good. This garage isn't very drafty. It got pretty cold this winter, but it stayed about 65 degrees out here at the worst, which is pretty good. I just had a small space here and everything worked well. I'm figuring that it'll probably stay pretty cool in the summertime with that AC unit. I think that'll work pretty well. So I'm really happy with that decision. Here looking at the yard entrance, I have all the switches laid out. So as we look down, you got a nice long straightaway section for storing cars and everything like that. And again, I'm wiring all of these switches up currently. They're all pretty much done. I just got to get started on this module next. So there's the yard lead entrance connecting to the main line. You have this yard lead running all the way back into track 1. And then as we come into the next module, we have a crossover track for the yard. So for main 1 to 2 crossover here. I have a siding track here because there is another siding. Being that I'm modeling Bno East End now, there is a basically a siding where they store cars and run trains into, and this is going to lead us into the other section. So you can see I have again another identical table to the one I built on this end of the layout, and that leads into this section of curves here, if I can get it to focus properly. This section of curves was fun to do. I just laid it out pretty much the same. It's really hard keeping all this straight and level and engaged as you bend it. Track nails help, but you do got to do a lot of adjusting and you got to be really patient. And I was doing all this in the dead of winter too, so it was a real pain trying to get everything to stay pretty tight and not kink. But it's now that it's warming up, it's proved that it stayed pretty good. I have a few kinks here and there that I had to fix, but so far it's not looking too bad. I got the yard tracks laid out here in the background, and I wanted to talk about real quick the road bed. If we look at the road bed height here, for the siding tracks, I'm using the brand new Rapido low profile road bed, and compare that to the standard cork road bed here. You can actually see the track height difference, and that's something I really wanted to try to focus on when I built this model road, was modeling the accurate height differences between main track, siding track, that kind of thing, because it does vary for drainage. Same thing with these tracks in the background here. You can see these tracks are actually at ground level, and then this track here, the main runaround track for the Bno East Yard, is pretty well basically elevated, basically really about the same height as the main track here. Not too much difference. All this in the background is going to have to get sceniced up. I'm going to have to do trees. I'm planning on doing my Scenic Express trees. I got to get a couple kits for that and then start doing that. That's going to be another can of worms I'm going to get into, but you know, it's all part of learning. Lots of ballasting to do, of course, and this gets us into the DCC system, which I'm using is Digitrax. I got a DT500 throttle here. All this is done up. This is the first section I actually wired up, and I basically was running trains on this for the last few weeks, just troubleshooting anything, testing all the switches, and everything's powered real nicely. All this up here on this side is all yard track, and it's going to be for car storage. I'm not going to be running any locomotives down this, so I just kept all this just flat siding track. So it's not wired up. This is unpowered. It's only powered up to these switches up here, which I'll get to. But if we look at this again, you can see we have the two main tracks. Again, this would be Fostoria East End, so you'd be looking west here at the Bno Sighting, and then you'd be looking east on towards Tiffin, on towards Bascom in real life. Obviously it has to curve off, you know, because it's a model road. So looking at the DCC system real quick, again, I was going to go with an NCE system, and I ended up going with a Digitrax based on a friend's opinion. So I ended up getting that. I got a DCS 210 down there. You can see it's hooked up. I got the power supply running all over. You can see it's pretty well sloppily hooked up right now with all my feeders and everything, which are all connected for this side, but I'm going to try to clean all this up and get it a little bit more straightened out. I got my throttle port here. This is a wireless system, so I can basically run a wireless throttle, and I can do multiple throttles, of course, too. So I'm going to do another one of these, and I might have to add a booster over here. We'll see what this, we'll see how this works out, but it's very possible I'll have to add a booster. But so far, it's powered up this entire half of the layout pretty well, so I'm definitely glad. And it was actually very simple to install. All I had to do was run my bus lines underneath the model railroad, and then I just basically cut the feeder wires, a little notch in there, and then I just soldered the leads for the DCS 210 there, and it ran right in, and I just plugged it in, tested it, and it started right up. So I was pretty happy with that. You can see I got all the feeder wires running underneath, and there's a ton of them. If we actually look at this, you can see I've been spending lots and lots of time wiring all this up, and again, I got to clean all these wires up. I got to basically finish tucking this wiring underneath the benchwork. Right now it's dangling out for easy access, but once I get all this finished and I know my system is solid, I'll basically tack all this, and then I'll properly conceal and hide these feeder wires. But right now, again, it's all exposed for work in the event that I need to keep working on it, which I am right now. So this leads us to the opposite end of the yard, which is my favorite part. We have the Bno Sighting Entrance here, which is a nice long Pico turnout here, which is really nice. So that leads into the siding, and then again we're looking east at the main tracks. Looking at the yard entrance here is the Bno East Yard. They store lots of cars here, Thai cars, real cars, locomotives, just about everything in real life. So I laid it out. I got my long Pico turnout switches here. That leads into this section here, and here's going to be the fun part. I actually am going to have a crossing with lit crossing gates, and it's going to be the only signal system that actually operates. I've scratch built all the signals up to this point, and I have a custom pair of Tomar signals that I'm going to be installing, which I'll show in a separate video. So all the signals, structures, and everything, like these structures that I've scratch built in the background, I'm going to show all these later, but these are just a sneak peek of the scenes that are going to be coming on this model road. It's going to be pretty incredible. So this is going to be the road here. I believe this is Columbus Avenue, and this is going to be fun. I'm going to get ready to extend all this out, and then I'm going to pave it just like the real thing. And then this will be a gravel parking lot. I'll have a chain link fence running around all these structures. In real life, this is a Verizon radio tower, and then the service building and shed. So all that will be a parking lot back there, and then there'll be an access road for the yard running along the forested section all along this wall, so it'll look really, really cool. There's a large signal bridge right here at this turnout as well. Again, I've scratch built all my hooded signals for this, so wait till you guys see those. But this is the Bno East End. Basically, you can see this really cool section. It's, again, one of my favorites, the way it took out. This is many hours of work. In total, I think this, working non-stop just on track, it probably took me about maybe 4 weeks to actually hand lay all the track. Looking at this section here, this is where the yard starts on the main, and then again it's a nice long Pico turnout. I have that laid out and wired up, so that works out pretty well. And again, we're back into our main curve here. And again, I'm using the NCE DCC system. A lot of people said this was really good. I ended up getting some of these sets of feeder wiring, plugs, cables, everything like that, connectors, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I was getting, and then I got a massive pile of switches. This is only some of them. Like I said, I got 21 switches. It's a lot of switches. So there's still a lot to do out here, but you can see it's actually starting to take shape, and at this point I'm actually able to run a train on half this thing, which is pretty cool. I didn't think I'd be this far along this quick, but this is where we are now. So I'm really hoping that by the end of April I can have all this wired up, all the troubleshooting done, and I can actually just start running some test trains on this, figure out if I need to fix anything else before I actually start doing scenery. Because once I get this track work done, then it's straight to the races doing scenery. I'll be able to start doing that relatively quick. I have lots of experience doing scenery on all of these modules I built in the past, so I feel like I can really get this done pretty quick. I'm going to start doing the road here pretty soon. That'll be actually the first thing I do. I'm going to do the road, and then I'll basically do the ballast lot around that. And this whole scene here will be the first scene I actually complete on this model road. So that'll be the first thing I work on. There's pretty good lighting on this end too, real quickly, kind of wrapping this video up. I think I'm going to be fine here, though I may install some shelving on this wall here with some LED light strips. I think that might also help with the lighting, but you can see it's really starting to take shape, guys. It's really looking good. And again, we're in the process of wiring, and we're getting there. Tonight I'm going to be plugging all these in here for the crossover section and everything down below, so that's where I'm at. But it's making progress, you know, it's one little bit at a time. And again, I'm doing all this myself. I've just been watching lots of YouTube videos and asking people questions that I know who have experience with this. And again, I want to thank any of you guys who have been able to help me along this process. You know, I really appreciate any kind of help that's been given. You guys have been really, really helpful. You know, I really appreciate that this whole community, you know, everyone's willing to help everybody. I like making these videos for you guys to see what I'm up to. And of course, you guys being able to help me back is tremendous. I know a lot of people have been asking me about making a video on some scenery. I'm thinking about doing some stuff and covering things, but really everything I'm doing out here isn't any different than what hundreds of other modelers here on YouTube are doing in terms of laying roads down, you know, ballasting, that kind of thing. I'm not going to try to show ballasting to you, by the way. I know someone asked me that. It's not going to happen. There's so much ballast that I have to put down here by myself, again, that I'm just not going to try to show that. I'm going to try to do one section, one module at a time. Just slugging it out for the next, you know, month or two to do ballast, and then I'll be able to do all the ground turf, static grass, trees, everything like that, structures. But I'll try to make some videos of the scenery that I think might be kind of interesting, and we'll tie it in. Kind of wrapping this video up again, keep an eye out for a video on my scratch built structures. I'll be talking about these. I will also be talking about my scratch built signals, crossing signals, and then the rail line signals, dwarfs, things like that. So that'll all be coming along. Here's the Cno Yard office too. This is supposed to go down here, but it's moved because I'm doing that wiring. But that's just another structure I've shown that I'll be talking about in another video. So that'll just kind of get you guys in on the really the status of what's been going on. Again, it's really good progress, and I'm very happy with what I've gotten done. I've been taking lots of breaks in between, and I'm going to just keep trucking along on it. So thank you for watching, guys. Thanks for bearing with me here. I'll be sure to keep you guys posted on this from now on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.